This is Glasgow Rangers Nation, and this is your Sunday supplement. I am Aaron James, and I'm bringing you all the latest from Rangers FC. Well, look, whatever you think of yesterday's game, we are through. That's the main thing. A 2-0 victory. Should have been more. Should have been 3, 4, 5. Should have well and truly put St Johnstone away, in my opinion. Had some chances to do that. Some obviously noticeable chances. The chance where obviously Diamande shoots, keeper spills it, Danilo follows up. Keeper does very well. I don't get me wrong. On the rebound, Czerny had a shot that was blocked. There was a number of shots. I think we should have gone into half time leading the game, if I'm wholly honest. But look, overall, it was a development of a performance. It wasn't a great performance. It wasn't a terrible performance. At least it was a victory, and that is the key thing. There is getting that 2-0 win. I think if we'd kind of gone through the usual with the unluckiness that we've had over, or some poor performances we've had, then we wouldn't have got that positive result. And, we did obviously get through. Yes, there were some good performances, and yes, there was some poor performances in that game today. It seems that, calling out certain players and saying certain players didn't play well is very unpopular at this moment in time. So I'm going to avoid, certain players who were absolutely shocking today. Look, I think the biggest, obviously, issue coming out of the game was the injury to Robin Proper. Obviously went off injured. Just basically sat down in the penalty area. Appeared to be prodding his groin, which is always a concern if that's a groin injury. How long could he be out for? What's the extent of the injury? And I think as well, a lot of fans kind of sat and stood or, watched that, and they kind of said, well, for God's sake, not another injury. How unlucky do we need to be? Look, I still genuinely can't believe this. We're going into what, after only a couple of games of the season, and already we've got Raskin out, we've got Cortez out, we've got Ridvan out, and now Proper's injured as well. And it just seems to be one thing after another yet again. After Philippe Clement came out and said, look, we're going to sort out these injuries, and we're going to, obviously make sure that we don't have any more of this injury epidemic in the future. The manager did speak about Proper's injury post game, and it's pretty positive news. But of course, the manager, he doesn't know everything at this point. Obviously, he has to undergo further medical tests, but I'm sure this is what Dr. Mark Waller and the rest of the medical staff have told him. And this is what the manager said post-game. He says, I think Robin will be okay. Blocked his back, but then problem with the groin because of that. But I hope and think that it will not be a bad injury. I mean, that's got to be positive news. I mean, I think, Robin Proper has come in and he looked quality. He looked, assured on the ball. He's, looked good going back as well as going forwards. He tackles well. He reads the game well. He organises the back four well. So, I think losing him would be a major loss. Look, personally speaking, I think, we've got, obviously, look at the next few games coming up. We've got Ross County next weekend before the big one on the 1st of September. So, Ross County, obviously, who lost today to Spartans, I mean, it's going to be a home game. Yes, so not really a home game. It's at Hampden. I think, probably you could rest Proper for that game, let him fully recover and make sure that he's right and ready to go for the 1st of September. Realistically, John Suter and Leon King, John Suter and Leon Balogun, if he's fit again, John Suter and even Ben Davis, I think, could do enough of a job to get us past Ross County. I mean, and that's not arrogance. That's just genuine thoughts that Ross County genuinely are not that good this season again. And it's at home. Look, I just feel that what we've got to do, I think, is get past Ross County, which I think we will do, and have our players and the first choice players, well, as close to first choice as possible, fit for that game at Parkhead. I mean, heaven forbid. I mean, heaven knows that game is going to be as tough as anything anyway. So, realistically, Proper could be rested, I think, and be okay for that game. I thought Ross McCausland, when he came on, was very good indeed. He was direct. He ran at the players. Obviously came on for Václav Czerny. I thought Czerny did well overall in the game. I thought he tired towards the end of the game and did make a few mistakes. But, Czerny looks a good player. And I think, again, this is a player that we're kind of trying to give time to get fit, time to mash into the squad. I thought there was one or two moments of real skill there, real creativity there. I think, give him a few more games, give him a few more months at the club, and I think, Czerny will be one player. One thing about Václav Czerny for me is he's a player who gets you off your seat, isn't it? But back to Ross McCausland, I thought the finish from McCausland's goal was cool, it was calm, it was collected, and it kind of demonstrated something we don't see very often from Rangers in that penalty area when a chance falls to them. I mean, how often do we see, that directness, that that ability to finish, ability to just calmly dink it over the outcoming goalkeeper? It was a really class finish from Ross, and I thought Ross did really well today when he came on. He wasn't the only one. I thought Big Cyril did very well when he came on, took his goal absolutely superbly. That VAR check was an absolute farce. I mean, I get why St Johnstone are a little bit pissed off at it. I understand that. The referee was already ordering a free kick, but the whistle didn't go until after the ball had crossed the line. So by the technicalities of the law, it can't be disallowed because there was nothing wrong with it. If the whistle had gone before Dessers puts the ball in the back of the net, then obviously St Johnstone would have another, more cause for complaint. But look, at the end of the day, I thought he took his chance very, very well indeed. He did very well. The other player I thought was absolute class when he came on was Connor Barron. I mean, Connor was rested today. The manager spoke about that before the game. He said, he wanted to give Connor a chance to get rested, get himself fresh, get himself ready to go again. But I thought Connor was just class. I mean, he offered for the ball. He was there all the time. He got stuck in. His passing was excellent. I thought him, McCausland linked superbly. He distributed the ball well. He switched the game fantastically well. I thought Barron was just an absolute breath of fresh air for me. He really genuinely was. Now, we are going to talk, obviously, as well about the CEO, so hang on for that. There is some information about the CEO of Rangers upcoming, so please hang on for that. What were the main takeaways from what the manager said about the game today? Well, these are the main takeaways from what the manager said. So he said, we deserve to win. We were the better team. Well, I think, that's fairly accurate. Genuinely very good. I thought we were better. I think, the only thing we didn't do is score 4 or 5. I agree with that. We could have easily scored 4 or 5 goals. It was good use of the VAR for the first goal. Yeah, I mean, it was good use of VAR. I mean, at the end, that goal was disallowed, but VAR looked at it and, saw that actually there was nothing wrong with the goal. Sanders, I think it was their player, he kicked Dessers rather than Dessers fouled him. So, by the letter of the law, there was nothing wrong with it. So I agree with the manager on that one. So I understand their frustration because they're in a game, but we also failed to take our chances. I mean, that's right as well. I think, look, we did fail to take our chances. By the time Dessers scored, we should have been 2-3 up anyway. So it shouldn't have been a major concern. And that goal shouldn't have actually had as much riding on it as it actually did. So for me, the manager's spot on with what he says there. Tav, we know, has the power, but needs to be more precise in his shots. Look, I don't want to turn this into the James Tavernier show. I don't want to talk too much about Tav. All I'm going to say is Tav was absolutely dreadful today. He gave the ball away. He couldn't tackle. His shooting was pathetic. His crosses were awful. He needs to go. He really does. And I don't understand why Sterling or Devine are not starting at right back, because Tav is he's gone. He's finished. Hefte was only 20, but he has the qualities. Credit to the recruitment team to find a player of his quality and cheap. I thought Hefte was class today. I thought he actually linked really well with Matondo as well. There was some nice link-up play. There was some lovely overlapping, some lovely little balls inside as well, some good delivery into the box. I thought Hefte played really, really well. And after the concerns, pre-season as regard his defending, I thought he stepped up there as well. I mean, yes, it was only St Johnstone, but still, I thought Hefte played really, really well. Training hard for Danilo. He will continue to grow again. The plan is for more minutes. I mean, he only played 45 minutes. I think, people saying, oh, that'll do his confidence the world of good if he gets dragged off. Well, no, I don't think he did. I think he probably knew that he was only going to get 45 minutes. He hasn't played a single minute of football this year. He looked sharp. He looked sharper as the game went on, but it's going to take time for Danilo. You can't judge him yet. He needs time to get his match sharpness there. But I thought his movement on the whole was a lot better than Dessers' movement. I thought his movement was very, very good. Dessers very important, and 3 goals this season. Yeah, 3 and 5. Excellent record for Cyril Dessers. Well done, son. Fantastic. Igman is making good progress. We need this with the games in November and December. It will be a busy schedule. And obviously there is a concern that we have not seen any of this Hamza Igman yet. He has obviously not been featured yet, and he has not played yet. So look, at the end of the day, we do hope that we can see him sooner rather than later. This is a player that we've been told a lot about. We've been told that he's one of the very promising, that he's a quality player. Hopefully we get to see him at some point very, very soon. But, interesting takeaways from the press conference from the manager post-game. Guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the performance. Man of the match. Look, I'm going to go with Hefte. He was my man of the match. I thought he was excellent, closely followed by Ross McCausland. I thought he was excellent today as well. Let me know your man of the match in the comments down below. Now, there are reports emerging from the club that Rangers are set to appoint St Mirren Vice Chairman Jim Gillespie as their new Chief Executive Officer. This is what was tweeted out on X earlier today, not by Rangers, by another source. He will. So it says a lifelong Rangers fan with contacts at the club will land the job and be confirmed within weeks. I mean, that's worrying. Within weeks, I think it needs to be done before the end of the transfer window. It really does. It needs to be speeded up very, very quickly. As yet, the fine details on his contract have not been rubber stamped, but barring an 11th hour hitch, he will be announced. Gillespie obviously comes with a fairly high reputation from St Mirren. He is a charity director. He's has been director of other things. He has a number of business awards to his name. He is very much business centered. He has a lot of contacts on the Ibrox board, knows a fair few of the people on the board. Certainly is friendly with a number of the board members. He's obviously played a role already at St Mirren. There's obviously concerns that there's parallels there between him and Stuart Robertson, obviously, who came from a same place and was very, very ineffective. I mean, Stuart Robertson, probably one of the worst CEOs in Rangers history. But look, I mean, there's positives and negatives to this. The positives, obviously, is it's a fresh pair of eyes from outside. He is a Rangers fan. He understands the club. He understands what it is to be a Rangers fan. He understands what it is, to be part of this club. He comes from a generation that will understand what the standards are and the expectations are of this club. The concerns, obviously, around this have to be that he is obviously, friendly with the board. Is he too close to the board? Does he have the wherewithal and the courage to stand up to people who he sees as his friends, or he has these contacts? I mean, that is obviously the downside. I mean, we don't know yet. We really don't know, because we can only go off what he's done at St Mirren, and St Mirren obviously have been very successful in terms of, getting into Europe, doing well in the league, relative to the size of the club, relative to the budget, relative to the fan base, relative to where they actually are in the Scottish game. There's no expectation that St Mirren are going to challenge for the title or challenge for trophies because of the existence of Celtic and Rangers, and even to some extent Hearts, who were absolutely rubbish yesterday. But at the end of the day, we need a CEO. We need a CEO sooner rather than later. And I think the positive as well, I suppose, is the fact that he has knowledge of the Scottish game. He has knowledge of Scottish football. He'll be able to hit the ground running. He understands how to run a football club. He's been involved in the running of a football club, so it's not like he's coming from outside where he's got to learn about the differences between business and football business, which there is a difference in that. There obviously is. I mean, yes, the basic tenement is to make someone make a business make a profit and run at a profit. Obviously, that is every business's intention, but obviously football clubs are run slightly differently. So there are positives from that aspect. He's going to be a very busy man when he comes to the club. There's an awful lot going to be in his in tray, as regards recruitment, as regards, in terms of, what the manager wants, in terms of contracts. There's an awful lot out there. Now, one thing that the Gillespie, if it is going to be this Gillespie geezer who takes over as the CEO, one of the things that he needs to do is not only hit the ground running, but take a thorough control of day-to-day running of the club. For too long now, I think the board have interfered in the day-to-day running of the club. The board should be there as a consultant. That's it. That's all they're there for. The day-to-day running, the decisions that are made should be made by the CEO, by the director of recruitment, and by the other directors of the executive. They shouldn't be made by the board members. People who understand the football game, they understand the football business, they understand how the league works, how the team works, how the football business works. They're the people who should be running this club and taking this club forward, through allowing people who understand what the club is about, understand how to actually run a football club. It's only then that you will get the best results. Now, like I said, there are positives, there are negatives to the appointment of Jim Gillespie, and I'm sure some people were hoping for Andrew McKinley. That was the big rumour. Obviously, he's done really well with Hearts. There was obviously, hopes as well that there was somebody from outside, maybe. But that's it. Look, we don't know how this guy's going to do. We've obviously got a reserved judgment on him, going forward. So, it's going to be positive, but I do feel the board need to act sooner rather than later to get this guy in before the end of the window. Like I said, there is an awful lot to sort out. Not only the team, but the stadium, fans, etc., etc. There is an awful lot in his in tray, and he will need to really hit the ground running if he's going to be a success in the role. Right, obviously, in terms of going forward in this cup competition, we'll find out later today who we're going to play in the next round of the cup. Obviously, there are 3 more ties today after the results yesterday. The results yesterday obviously were Dundee 6, Airdrieonians 1. Falkirk of the Championship knocking out Hearts, alleged title contenders who've made a dreadful start to the season. That 1-1 draw away at Tynecastle perhaps not looking as good a result now. Aberdeen 1, Queen's Park 0. Aberdeen continue their winning run. Spartans knocking out Ross County. Showing what I mean about Ross County. And obviously our game finishing 2-0 today. 2 o'clock, it's Motherwell Kilmarnock. You've got to fancy Motherwell with Kilmarnock coming off the back of a European tie. Dundee St Mirren. I'm going to say Dundee again just because St Mirren are coming off the back of a European tie. And Celtic versus Hibs. It says tomorrow. That's because I copied and pasted this Saturday. Celtic Hibs. Look, as much as I want Hibs to beat them, they're not going to, are they? Celtic are going to get through. So, look, who we get, I don't know. I'd love to obviously play Spartans at home or Falkirk at home because it's going to be the easy. You can rotate the team a little bit more, rest some of the players. But by the same token, I really don't mind. At the end of the day, if Rangers are going to win this cup, are going to retain this cup, it doesn't matter. We're going to have to beat the best to win the trophy. So, guys, let me know who you'd like in the next round of this competition. Thank you for watching the Sunday Supplement, guys. As always, please smash that sub, help the channel to keep on growing. And on the way out, 2 favours I always ask. Number 1, smash that like. And number 2, remember always, we are the people.